Hello, foodie fans. Welcome to the Big Food Talk, produced by Tough Monkey Entertainment. I'm your host, Sal Conca. This show supports restaurants, chefs, and food pioneers with your help. Head to bigfoodtalk.com to make your donation today, or check out our fun apparel line with proceeds going directly to participating restaurants. Special thanks to the Long Island Food Council, Dine LI Facebook group, and Yelp Long Island for supporting this episode. Today I'm speaking with Angelo, the owner of Fire Island Vines in Bay Shore, New York. Angelo is an entrepreneur with a keen sense of what his customers want. After operating a wine tour business for 7 years, he recognized an opportunity to offer the winery experience on the South Shore of Long Island. Let's hear Angelo's story. Hey Angelo, welcome to the Big Food Talk today. It's great to meet you. How are things down in Bay Shore these days?
Very good. Thank you, Sal. Thank you for this opportunity to learn more about us, our family, our business, and really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. I really enjoy talking to family-run businesses. I have a family-run business myself, and so I have a special place in my heart for those businesses, obviously. And, I'm curious. So we're talking about Fire Island Vines. You operate other businesses as well, but when did Fire Island Vines, when did you guys open the doors there?
About 10 days before COVID. So we had our grand opening. It was wonderful. A lot of support from friends, family, and people in the neighborhood. It was everything that we could hope for. So we were very excited, and then obviously the whole COVID thing happened. So, but we've learned a lot dealing with what we're limited to up until this point. So we're trying to take the positives out of this last 6-7 weeks, so it's all good.
Yep. And you're a family-run business. How long have you been operating businesses as a family aside from Fire Island Vines?
Well, say from 2013. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've been in financial services, actually managed a hedge fund, and then started working for a local limousine company, learned that business, and said, you know what, wine tours is something that I think would be a good business to try to start up. And started with family. We expanded with staff, and thankfully all the staff that we've hired previously has stuck with us. Now granted, this year, no wine tours because of COVID, but we're looking for that to also open up again in the next several weeks. But yeah, 2013.
Okay, yeah. So you're on 7 years doing wine tours. Now, those wine tours that you conduct, is that all through the North Fork and South Forks of Long Island?
Yes, there's 50 vineyards out east. We have great relationships with many of them, and we really try to be the best customer for the vineyards, and along with that, we become a resource for our guests that we arrange wine tours and also host their groups. Maybe it's a bachelorette or a birthday. We do a lot of those, and as our motto is, we try to treat everyone like family, and I think that comes across.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing. I mean, obviously, people use those wine tours for celebrations, business outings, team building, all sorts of ways to use a wine tour. What actually is the name of the wine tour business so people can know what that is as well?
Yes, it's First Glass, as I always say, drinking glass wine tours. So a lot of times people will say first class, which we're fine with that also. but first glass as in drinking glass.
Well, I hope you bought the other domain name as well for the
Yeah,
website.
yeah.
So, as people are typing, if they, make the little faux pas there, they get to the right place. But yeah, so First Glass Wine Tours. I'm excited to check that out as well. I didn't know really about that until today. So I'm curious to check those out and see what you guys offer in those terms. And I know after we get through all of this, as we start to open in phases, I know there's strawberry picking already going on out east a little bit. And so I'm sure the wineries are going to be about to open up come July or so. So you guys will be swinging in business again. So you have this now, you're in business, you have a successful business doing First Glass Wine Tours. You decide to expand and you want to open Fireland Vines. Why? What was the reason? Why expand? Why do something new and different?
Um, well, not really different. Maybe just a different locale. So I'm getting older. Traveling out east was one factor every weekend. Um, we are centrally located in Suffolk County, so to travel out east is typically 50 miles both ways. And then I'm a control person, as maybe many business owners are. And there's a lot of variables that you have no control of, whether it's the weather, um, the vineyards themselves changing their policies from year to year. Then you have the guests themselves. We tend to stay away from the 25 and under, just a different mindset versus the type of clientele like we like to deal with. And then you have vehicles that, on any occasion might develop a mechanical, as anyone's car might develop some mechanical problem. So a lot of variables in that sense. And as I said, we actually host our guests that come out to the vineyard. So when they arrive, we're actually there already with tables all nicely set up, and we cater a lunch for them. And virtually, we're trying to copy that, but in a closer location, but in our own setting, which happens to be Fire Island Vines, our tasting room in Bayshore. So there's a lot of similarities of what we do out east, but we brought it closer to home. Along the way, in the 7, 8 years that we've been doing wine tours, we've developed excellent relationships with a lot of the different winemakers and the vineyards, and we got to see firsthand what people enjoyed, the type of experience that they like, whether it's the ambiance, whether it's the server, how they present the wine, whether it's the wine itself. So we kind of like have a little bit of inside information because on any given day, we're at 5 or 6 different vineyards that we're hosting people. So we learned a lot about, let's just say, the East End and the vineyards and what people enjoy about that whole experience. So we're just trying to bring it closer to home.
Sure. And so, as part of this, though, you call yourselves, you are a winery, as you say, in
Mhm.
Bayshore, right? Which is rare, right? When people think wineries, they think the East End. So, how are you creating your own brand of wines? Do you have a vineyard of your own? Or are you private labeling somebody else's grapes? How does that process work? Or what can you share with us?
Okay, so it's not easy to get to where we are today. So not anyone can just open up a winery. So a winery, there's under New York State liquor authority laws, you can apply for what's called a farm winery license. You don't actually have to own a vineyard or farmland. So we're actually a tenant to a vineyard. So we're like renting space, warehouse space. Um, when the grapes come in, we have our own winemaker and we'll tweak the formula, let's just say, to our liking. So all of that is independent of the vineyard, but we're basically renting as if we are a tenant, and which we are, their space. And so that's a farm winery license. So where everything that a vineyard can do, um, you know, we just happen to be located in Bayshore, not on an actual vineyard.
That's pretty cool. I mean, as a business person and entrepreneur myself, I'm enjoying hearing the kind of into the inner workings of this. And you know, this show is supported by the Long Island Food Council. I don't know if you're familiar with them and Michael Tucker. They host a number of events for the beer and winery
Hmm.
associations here on Long Island as well. So you know, that's something you should consider joining if you haven't already. Um, and so, you know, I like how you took the ideas of, you know, having been in the business for so long, conducting these wine tours, really understanding what the people wanted, what they like, what they dislike, and then creating that experience somewhere else on Long Island. I think it's a brilliant idea. What can you share more with us about the wines themselves? How many varieties do you currently make, and what's the differences around those varietals?
Hmm. So we have 5 varietals under our label, which is FIV, Fire Island Vines. Um, and these are wines that we know people have enjoyed. Again, we tweak it to some degree, but you know, it's the grapes that are grown. Our host vineyard is Laurel Lake, and they're wonderful people over there. And the main winemaker there, Juan, he's from Chile, and he really knows his stuff. I mean, he manages a 1,500-acre vineyard in Chile, along with what's here on Long Island. So we have, you know, a Pinot Grigio, we have uh, a Sauvignon Blanc, we have a Riesling, we have a Rosé, and we have a wonderful Pinot Noir. Now, I will tell you this, on the whites, everything's got to get through my wife. If she doesn't like it, we're not putting our label on it. So she likes dry white wine, and our dry whites, the Sauvignon Blanc and the Pinot Grigio, meets her standards, and that's fine with me. And the Pinot Noir, I absolutely love, and we know, again, from experience, the feedback. We almost kind of like did our own over the years, um, taste testing with people, so we know what people like, and we just had to make sure that the wines that are made for us with our label on it, you know, meet our standards.
That's great. And I would love to meet your wife. I'd love to meet the taste tester at some point because I think that's important, right? It's important to have somebody that has that set of standards to know if this doesn't pass my test, we're not going forward with it, right? So it's the same in my business with my dad. And, you know, he's the taste tester in what we do. So
Mhm.
if he doesn't approve of it, it ain't getting jarred and it's not moving forward. Um, so let's talk more about the food and the wine. So you open a tap room and winery. You have food available. It's very Greek and Mediterranean inspired. Is that because of your family's background and history, or is it because of what the people like? How did the food end up in the situation?
Okay, so we knew that we have to offer people um, something in the way of food to enjoy with their wine or beer or cider. Um, but we didn't want that to be the upfront focus, just like the vineyards. The vineyards, you're not going to the vineyards for lunch. You're going there for the ambiance, the experience of the wine, and so on. So we that's foremost up front that we wanted to lead with. The food had to meet our standards, and again, my wife is really the biggest part of that. She comes from um, a family that was in the diner business, for many, many years. And really, um, that's where the food aspect and the theme came from her parents. And yes, we're Greek, and it's a Greek theme, because that's what we know.
Wonderful.
Um, and we felt that a little, you know, it's good enough to not make it so complicated, in terms of preparing and how many different ingredients you need. And we know people enjoy it. We belong to St. Nicholas Church in West Babylon, a
Hmm.
small parish, and every year they have the festival, and hundreds, if not thousands, of people come to enjoy the Greek food. And we felt that that was a good way to to go. And I think right now it's working out very, very well for us.
That's wonderful. Yeah. The menu for me, when I'm having wine, especially in the summer months and things like this, you want a lighter bite. You don't want to be filling up on all kinds of heavy carbs and, all that type of stuff. So the menu has a nice, light Mediterranean feel to it, Greek menu. And my wife and I, a lot when we go out for wine, there's other places that have that. It's not easy to find though, to find a place where you can just go sit, have a glass of wine in a nice setting, have a nice light bite, right, and not have to have a whole 4-course meal going on, right? It's just a nice casual environment. I believe that's what you've tried to recreate there in
Yeah,
baseball.
that's really it. It's a total experience that we try to offer. So the tasting room itself, the short time that we were open, people loved it. It's definitely on the beachy, lighter side. Hence
Hmm.
Fire Island. That we were. For me, I'm very passionate about Fire Island. I've lived on the South Shore, West Islip, pretty much all my well, from childhood to adult life,
Hmm.
and many wonderful memories, and continue to make memories over there. And we developed something that I feel attracts a lot of people. But it's a combination of the ambiance, the food, the wine, our hospitality, and when we can, live music again. So
Absolutely.
all of that we know can make for a wonderful time in our place, and a memorable experience.
Sure. Well, as you said, you opened up just moments before COVID, hit here on Long Island. So since that time, what have you learned, or how have you pivoted, and how do you think it's going to shape your business going forward?
So our focus was the tasting room, making sure that experience met what we were trying to accomplish. And granted, for the short time, say the 10 days that we were open, it really did. Um, Fast forward, we were going to think about takeout, but that was down the road. But we had to figure that one out really quick. So uh, we were probably the first, say, business, restaurant, eatery on Main Street to open their doors. And we have two double doors. We open them wide. I think it was just before April.
Hmm.
And we always had a family member, myself, my wife, my two daughters, in front of those two doors with two wine barrels with a tabletop. And we put our different wines, our own wines, and we welcome people. And this is the positive part of this whole experience with COVID. We are definitely people persons. So it gave us a chance to really meet people who were walking on the street. They got to know us. We're very happy. Some of the reviews that have been on Facebook and elsewhere, it brings a smile to me when people say, oh, they were so friendly and so on, because that's who we are. And we want to project that, hey, this is our home, you're welcome. And I think that came across. And as the weather turned, others on Main Street kind of like opened their doors. But we had those doors open, rain, snow, wind, cold, and that's just who we are.
Sure. It's great. That's a great story. And I think it's a good message for other people too. I mean, through all of this, because we know there's still more tough times ahead, meaning, from an economic standpoint, and, we're still not open yet by any means on the date of this recording. And even by the time this airs, we may or may not be in phase 3, or, it's just, so we got a long road ahead for businesses here on Long Island. And I think it's really important for other business owners and the people listening to this to know we have to just continue to support, and the business owners really need to just continue to persevere. We have to be innovative, we have to be creative, and we have to be personable, and everybody just needs to be empathetic and listen. Like you said, you do a very good job at listening to your customers and what they want, and the customers need to really understand what the business owners need and want as well during this time, because everything has changed.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. The people around Bayshore, the residents, they've been outstanding, supportive. So I'll say this, we probably have a good many steady customers that we see quite frequently. And, you know, they say, unless the person comes back a second time, they're not a customer.
True.
So we've had many, many people come back a second, third, fourth time. And, you know, again, that's a positive out of this whole COVID thing. And so we're looking at it. Yeah, it's a struggle financially, believe me, I'm not downplaying that, but we're building a base, we're making relationships with people in the area,
That's
and
wonderful.
that's what it's about.
That's wonderful. And yeah, I've interviewed a few people from the area as well, like ITA Kitchen. We have Coastal Kitchen and Daiquiri Bar coming up on the show as well. You know, and that area, Bayshore in particular, just feels like a really great emerging community that, you know, it's been for the last couple of years. And the restaurants and the vibe down there is just, it's just so fun and personable, and so many great places to frequent that, you know, I mean, listen, there's a lot of great towns around Long Island, but Bayshore itself, I feel like it's very unique, just a very unique spot to be.
Yeah, it's definitely it's continuing its upward swing. Yes, there's more housing coming in, which is always a plus. But yes, the people that have businesses, say eateries, and I refer it almost now to like Restaurant Row
Yeah.
in New York City on 8th Avenue over there.
Yep.
And yeah, and the great thing about it is everyone seems to focus on what's the best experience that they can provide the customer. And it's not about competition. I always feel like if you provide a good experience, that person will come back again to Bayshore, and maybe I get a chance to service them. So it's all good. And if everyone just focuses on creating the best experience for their customer, it's a win for everyone.
No doubt. And when I spoke to ICA Kitchen, one of the interesting things was how Bayshore, the restaurants and the eateries, you guys have like a collective where you help each other out. Like if somebody ran out of sugar, somebody can find it from another restaurant nearby. I think that's incredible. I wish more towns and businesses would collaborate like that. And
Yeah,
you know,
I have to, that's funny that you said that, because I think it was probably our grand opening weekend. We make homemade spreads. So the hummus, tzatziki, we have a spicy feta, but we ran out of chickpeas to make our hummus. And thank God Tullers was right there, and they make a wonderful hummus. We love their food, and they're great people, and they helped us out with the hummus. So that was very nice of them.
yeah, and that's, I think, the reality of the situation for people is, you know, like myself as a customer, I'm always looking for different places, right? So, and if it's local and close by, like, you know, if I go to Farmingdale, I've eaten in all the restaurants in Farming. You know, I don't just go to one over and over. I mean, it's very rare. I mean, some people are that way. They're very faithful. They find one place and stick with it. But, you know, I'm just the type of person, I go out. I like to explore and try different ones. So I may not come back every week, but I may come back once a month, one every other month, or things like that, right? As frequently as I can, and then try the other spots in the area, because when you visit one, just either in talking to an owner or talking to other customers there, they'll say, oh, but have you tried this place next door too? They do great food and
Right.
wine. So it's the conversation that happens, the word of mouth that happens. So it's been really great talking to you, Angelo. I loved learning about your business and your family. Is there anything else you wanted to share with everyone today, or you just where everybody can go find Fire Island Vines and connect with you guys online?
Yes, we are located at 17 East Main Street in Bayshore. So we're just east of 4th Avenue or Maple Avenue. A lot of people know Maple Avenue because it's the road to get down to the ferries. Or we're almost directly across the street from Coastal. So a lot of people know Coastal.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're looking forward to the next phase, phase 2, which is coming up in the middle of this week. And then we can't wait until we can have our guests come inside and sit down and really enjoy the complete experience that, you know, we focus on.
Absolutely. Well, Angelo, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I wish you nothing but continued success in the future, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Sal. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to The Big Food Talk, produced by Tough Monkey Entertainment. Subscribe on iTunes and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes takes, or watch complete episodes on YouTube. Don't forget to make a donation at bigfoodtalk.com.